harder it was to maintain that patriotic fervor. The casualty lists came, and they were dreadful. They were listed in the paper, and the Union Army had the ratio of death in camp and from accident to death in battle in the Union Army was 2 to 1. You were twice as likely to die in camp as from disease. Men from North Jersey who had never left this area got into an army, and then they were suddenly next to men from Michigan, men from Ohio. They would be subjected to diseases, the germs they'd never come across, and many men died of disease. In the Irish Brigade, it was exactly the opposite. You were twice as likely to die in battle as you were to die from disease. And part of that was they kept their camps clean. Maher was a stickler for sanitation. Excuse me. But the other part of that was the tactics that they were using. Although the rifle had been invented before the Revolutionary War, the men in the Irish Brigade had a smooth-bore musket that fired a 1-shot and 3 balls, a bucket ball cartridge. It was basically a shotgun. So the Irish were often used in support of attacks that were not going well. So they would cross a large open area toward a defensive position with a gun that couldn't reach where they were going, and the entire time they'd be under fire. So their tactics that they developed were to approach posts, fire 2 volleys, and do a bayonet charge. They were shock troops. And this was a very, very overwhelming attack. When men are coming at you, firing at you from close range, and then attacking with bayonet, it's hard to stand your ground. So the Irish were successful in that attack, but it was very, very costly to the Irish. So as far as the battle going on, as the war went on, the patriotic fervor of the Irish Americans who weren't in the army fell. And there were draft riots following the Battle of Gettysburg, the publication of the casualty list from Gettysburg. Draft riots were dreadful, dreadful events. I'm sure you might know about in New York City. The Irish did. At Gettysburg, there was an event that happened which went a long way toward helping the Irish Catholics assimilate into American society. And you probably know this story. Daniel Sickles was one of the generals. He was a corps commander. He was an Irish American. He was not from Ireland. He was of Irish extraction. He was the first man to successfully use the insanity defense in murder trial. He shot his wife's lover and said, "I was temporarily crazy," he got away with it. So they made him a general, and they put him in charge of a corps. And he did this disastrous move at Gettysburg, putting his men too far forward. And on the second day, the Irish were ordered to go in to fight in the wheat field where a battle had already developed. It was not going well for the Union. And just before they left, their chaplain, General Father Corby, who had come from Notre Dame College to serve in the Irish Brigade, asked if he could give absolution to the men of the Irish Brigade. And the officers agreed. And the general officers of the Army were there to lead the Irish into the battle. So General Hancock was there. And Hancock was a man who had no love for Catholics. But he saw all the men of the Irish Brigade kneel and receive general absolution from Father Corby, who stood on a rock that's still there in Gettysburg. If you've been to Gettysburg, perhaps you've seen that there's a beautiful statue of Father Corby on the very rock he gave absolution. And then those men, he gave them absolution contingent on their doing their duty. And then those men rose and went into battle, and the general officers of the Army saw how they fought. It went a long way toward showing people that you could be an Irish Catholic and an American, a patriot as well. After the war, interestingly enough, Father Corby went back to Notre Dame, where he became ultimately the president. And there's a beautiful matching statue to that. That statue that's in Gettysburg. There's an exact copy of it on the campus of Notre Dame, where the students unfortunately call it Fair Catch Corby. But that's why the Irish are called the Fighting Irish. The Notre Dame is called the Fighting Irish, because Father Corby was so closely associated with the Irish. But anyway, at that point in the war, from 63 on, there begins to be different characters to some of the Irish American songs. These songs, although they're still, many of them show patriotism, they talk more about the cost of war and the losses in war. And this is a very beautiful song, I think, called Pat Murphy of the Irish Brigade. It's a pretty well-known song from the Civil War. The second verse has one of my favorite lines in it. It says, "I'll fight till I die and never get killed." I mean, I've spent a fair amount of time in Ireland, and I've heard those kind of sentences a lot, where they make perfect sense to you to try and figure out exactly what it means. I'll fight till I die and I never get killed. But anyway, this is a very beautiful song called Pat Murphy of the Irish Brigade. Night before battle, and gathered in groups, soldiers lay close in their quarters. They were thinking, no doubt, of their dear ones at home, their mothers, wives, sweethearts, and daughters. Far away in the east 'twas a dashing young blaze, and the song he was singing so gay. 'Twas I, Pat Murphy, the Irish it was a song of Epsom Chalet. It passed to his mother, a little strange to me. Brothers fight in such a queer manner. But I'll fight till I die if I never get killed, for America's right story better. Far away in the east was a dashing young blaze, and the song he was singing so gaily was on his Pat Murphy of the Irish Brigade, and the song of the Fiddler Chalet. Morning soon broke before Paddy awoke. He found dribbles to give satisfaction. Drummers were beating the devil's tattoo. They were calling our boys into action. Far away in the east was a dashing young blaze, and the song he was singing so gaily was on his Pat Murphy of the Irish Brigade, and the song of the Fiddler Chalet. The Irish Brigade in the battle was seen, their blood for the cause shed in freely. With the bayonet charge, they rushed on the foe, with a shout for the land of Shillelagh. Far away in the east was a dashing young blaze, and the song he was singing so gaily was on his Pat Murphy, the Irish Brigade, and the song of the Fiddler Chalet. Day after battle, dead lay in heat, Pat Murphy lay bleeding and gory. The hole in his chest where the rifleman shot had ended his passion for glory. No more in the camps will his letters be read, nor his song be heard singing so gaily. No, he died far away from the friends that he loved, and far